That's probably part of the battlefield scene.
Right.
The couch
No, that's
used to run this way, and I had that over here. And I got a habit of falling asleep on the couch anyway, and I had my head laying this way watching the TV. My guitar case I had at the end of my foot, or the other end of the couch. So if you figure the couch is here and I'm laying this way and I'm watching TV, the shadow was like part of my guitar case. But then what was weird was because the TV wasn't really on. It's a smart TV, so it does the whole, if you're not watching or you haven't done anything actively on it, it'll come up and tell you the whole, do you want to continue watching or whatever. So it's a black screen with just a box on it.
Yeah.
There's no lights that come through because we got black curtains and stuff because I work at night and sleep during the day. The shadow was like the same height as my guitar case as it was sitting there, but it started moving across the wall. And I jumped up because I was like, what in the world is that? And you try to make sense of it.
Right.
So as I was watching it move across the wall, it ended up over there. And of course, the back of the couch where I'm laying, so I jumped up and looked at it.
Yeah.
Kind of like dipped into the bathroom. And it had no shape, no figure. Just a black silhouette.
Wow.
And that was kind of freaky to me. So that's why I moved the room, because I want to be able to see the door and the stairs now.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And these are the fishing poles over here.
Yes, that's exactly the fishing poles. And like you said, I got my hats on top of them, and they fall sometimes. If they're not sitting right, they'll do that and they'll move. But after all that happened, I got up, my hats were still hanging, and there was nothing that had fallen. So something had to just kind of like walk by and go.
And they're pretty.
Plink, plink, plink.
And they're pretty secure in there.
Pretty far
right?
apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you would have to actually take effort. So the homeowner is reporting a skunk-like smell that occurs primarily on the bottom half of these stairs sporadically. It never lingers for long. Usually one person will go down the stairs and smell it, the next person won't. So we've been throwing around a couple kind of skeptical theories, one of which is that her neighbors, which are known to partake of marijuana, the smell from them might be coming through the wall, since this is the shared wall. And we just noticed this vent here on the shared wall. Now she says there's no filter in it, which might be helping to contribute to that. But only time will tell.
That's right, and that's something we're going to have to take a look at, because also if there is a filter in it and it's dirty, but then you'd think with the dirty filter it'd be more constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With no filter at all, that's no barrier.
A couple more things on the non-skeptical side. You noticed a possible urn up here, right? We might have to confirm that that's what that is.
Yes.
Am I looking in the right spot?
Yeah.
Or is that just a vase?
Yeah. You want me to go downstairs and check?
Nah. And then over here, we got what appears to be an antique broken mirror. So we know that things can be attached to antiques as well, right? So, a couple other things to consider. Right. And we have 3 doors to choose from. Behind one of these doors is a large dog.
So, door number 1.
Door number 1 is not the large dog.
It is not the large dog.
Okay, good.
More signs of renovation.
Okay. Who's a good dog? So we just finished up with let's see, alarm system. I guess. We just finished up with the baseline EMF sweep and nothing substantial. Downstairs were the highest levels, and they were basically from the lights fixtures that were in the ceiling, and it would appear to be perhaps some kind of wiring that's going between the floor and the ceiling upstairs that was setting it off. Down to a pretty good level, but other than that, nothing really unusual with the baseline EMF sweep. So we're going to go through now and I think get some baseline pictures and then see where to go from there.
So we were downstairs talking to the clients, the people who live here, and we discovered that there is battlefield out here. One of the major battles that occurred in this area happened right outside in the backyard, basically. Now, it's also interesting to note that the dogs do not like to go in the backyard. They will come downstairs, they'll let them out back to go and do their business, and they will not go. They have to literally demand that the dogs go. And even then, it's like they run out, they do it, and they come back in very quickly. So, but they'll go into the front yard, they'll do their business comfortably, relaxed, and come back in. So a little bit strange. There must be something about the backyard. And if we can get a little bit of a lull in the rain, it might be interesting to go outside in the backyard and do a little bit of investigating there as well.
So the reason I picked this spot is earlier Jeff pointed out this broken mirror on the floor. Now the homeowner says that roughly 2-3 years ago is when the issues started. It's when the mirror broke.
Really?
Yeah. Her ex was moving out, broke the mirror on his way out. It belonged to her mother. She was a big antiquer. She's not sure where her mother got it. But it broke, as well as her cabinet. And apparently her and her mother had a deal that when her mother passed away, she was supposed to break something to let her know she was here. Day of her mother's funeral, she broke her ankle. Then her cabinet broke. Her mirror, all of her china. It's like she keeps sending the same signal. Or at least that's a theory.
Has she acknowledged maybe?
I mean,
She said she ignores the activity when it happens. So I wonder if just in theory it is her mother.
Yeah,
and she
she's-
keeps breaking things. Is it because she hasn't acknowledged? Hey, Mom, I know you're here.
I mean, that's possible. She's been ignoring it as if it's a stranger or something new, but it could have just been Mom this whole time.
And if she hasn't acknowledged, that could explain if it's being repetitive. If you know.
It makes me very excited to see what we end up with on EVP.
We're going to start out with the spirit box session downstairs in the area where the shadow was seen, and also the strange odor that manifests right behind me here. And we have a couple things going here. We have the digital voice recorder so we can pick up anything that comes through the spirit box, as well as over here we have a thermal pad, which is believed that spirits are able to leave imprints on it, if possible. If they can touch it, it picks up different temperatures and will leave that imprint. So, let's start this thing up here.
You said a strange odor manifested right behind you?
Well, not recently. Not Alright.
I couldn't resist.
Alright, so here we go.
Leave that in.
We'll start with saying our names. I'm Jeff.
I'm Kyle.
Linda?
Vicky?
You can say your name too. Right. Alright, and we don't mean to impose by any means, but we'd like to know if there is anybody here with us.
What'd that say?
That wasn't radio voice.
No.
We didn't catch that. Can you say it again? Try to tell us your name so we know who we're speaking to. Where are you from? What do you think about the changes that have occurred here?
Can you tell us what causes this odor?
How many dogs do you see in the room?
With lights on it, different colored lights. This one here. Can you make all those lights come on? All the way up to the red?
That's yellow. Oh, red.
There we go. Yeah,
You caught that, right?
yeah I did.
I've never seen it do that before.
Never seen it go all the way up to red?
No, not within
Yeah,
that.
usually it goes up to yellow or something, but rarely up to red.
Thank you.
Just to make sure that was you, can you try it one more time? Can you do it again?
We would really like to talk to you. Thank you. Can you make it go to red?
interesting. Either can I.
Thank you very much.
What does that thing sense?
EMF. But it's a little more sensitive than like the regular EMF detector that we use for the baseline suite.
I really wanted to hear you.
Is this easier for you to use than the spirit box and the speaker?
So right now we're trying to pinpoint that smell because I was standing right here in the doorway and I smelled it really strong right here. And at the same time, Linda smelled it. She was right here on the couch. And Kyle, you smelled it at the same time?
I did smell it. I smelled it actually before you said something.
Right?
And I waited and then.
And we can't find it now. Like it was very potent right here. And I stepped in here. It wasn't in here at the time. And now it's completely gone from here.
I don't know.
Completely gone.
It smelled earth.
I also noticed that the AC just now kicked on.
Right?
It wasn't on when we smelled that
rules
smell.
Out the
Rules
air
out the
filters and such
AC,
like that.
yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So there were some pretty interesting things that came through the spirit box downstairs, and we also had the K2 meter down there, and the K2 meter was flashing. All of the lights were coming on. It was going almost up to the red. Sometimes it was up to the red, which is kind of odd because we experimented with it a little bit. We were trying to figure out if there was something in the room, perhaps something electrical that was making it rise all the way up to the red, and we really couldn't find anything. But the spirit box seemed to be very talkative. Not when the dogs were down there though. Only when the dogs came upstairs did the spirit box really seem to be talking and saying things that seemed to relate to what we were asking and relate to the location. So interested in getting back and reviewing the audio on that and seeing exactly what it said. So we have this little black box on the table, and if you speak into that, we may be able to hear your voice. We don't mean you any harm. We don't want to hurt you or bother you in any way. We simply want to talk to you and see who you are and why you're here. My name is Linda.
Jeff.
Kyle?
Nikki.
David. And we don't mean to impose. We just want to know if there is anybody else here with us. What's been the reason for some of the unexplained activity in this room? Could you tell us your name?
Do you like to play with the lights up here and the fan?
Are you attached to anything located in this home?
What do you think of the changes that have happened here?
Can you turn the light back on? You do it a lot.
Visually in front of you guys?
Yeah, sometimes. It'll just pop on. Could you at least tell me if it's the neighbor's garage door opener or something?
Is it one of those remote control fans? Could be.
Could you tell us the name of someone in this room?
Hello up there.
I got voices.
Backyard. Okay. What should we do? Spirit box? Oh, that's gonna help.
I guess we're probably going to need to do a spirit box session.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm Jeff.
I'm Linda. Nikki.
David. And we'd like to know if there's anybody else here with us aside from those of us who mentioned our names. Could you tell us the name of the battlefield that's near here?
Which side did you fight for, the north or the south? Were you involved with the war in a way other than fighting?
I guess, what do you think about the changes?
I don't mind. Yeah, I thought it said I'm fine. Something
Yeah.
like that.
That's going in the video too, by the way. But go ahead and tell us what happened.
We were doing a spirit box session outside, and we just got a few responses, a couple words, and then I asked if they wanted us to go back inside, where down here in the lower level of the home, we did get some activity earlier, and the response on the spirit box sounded like a younger girl or a woman, and it said, "I guess so." So now we're going to move the spirit box session back inside.
Sounds good.
I don't know your game.
Put a dog whisperer,
Okay, so we came back inside. Would you like to talk to us in here? We also put this box back down on the table, this black box. The green light that's on there right now. If you remember, you can light that all the way up to red or yellow. You can try to spike that light for us. Can you say something and let us know that you're here?
It sounded like a girl's voice outside, like somebody young. Can you tell us your age?
Listen to the actual audio, because I think there's probably a lot more here
I think so
than
too.
what we heard just with their ears. So I can't
Just
wait
let me
to
know if I gotta move.
Yeah, right.
Burn the house down.
burn the house
I don't
down.
think so.
No, I mean, whatever it is, it doesn't seem
Right.
like it's anything that's going to be threatening or that's going to be,
Just to let you know I'm here. Just to let you know I'm here.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
my
exactly.
first suggestion to every family who we go and investigate for is just burn the house down.
Excellent.
Problem
Kerosene's my
solved.
fuel of choice.
Yeah. No, but it doesn't seem like it's anything threatening. And certainly you might see a shadow every so often, but if it's just going to kind of pass through and go on about its way.
Maybe I'm cognizant of,
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it was weird because that was like the only time it happened, which made me rearrange the room because I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But it never, I saw it on this wall,
Right.
which is where the guitar case was, and it went that way.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of like stopped. And,
Yeah.
and it made me jump up, and when I jumped up and I looked at the door, it was the same height. But it dipped into the bathroom. It
Right.
literally just went whoop.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
Like, don't look at me.
it's definitely startling. It's definitely startling, but it doesn't seem like there's anything that's actually negative.
Yeah.
So I mean, that can be, that's enough to calm your mind in that sense, where at least there's nothing
Right.
that seems to want to scare you or do
Yeah.
any harm or anything. I think just like Linda said, it just comes in, says hey,
Yeah.
and maybe goes away for a little while.
And
but-
given the fact that we, like you said, it was about the size of the guitar case, and the fact
That
that we
little
kept
girl
hearing
piece coming
the
through.
young girl's voice so often, I'd be willing to bet that that it may be a young girl.
Yeah.
well, even back in the few hundred years ago, everybody was significantly smaller.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that smaller person could have been an adult because of chairs and tables and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look like tea party size.
Right.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, and you can certainly try talking to her, or just saying, if it bothers you, say, hey, could you,
Just
try not to
scaring me,
pass
yeah.
through here, you're bothering me, go away, go hunt the creepy neighbors,
Go haunt, but to leave me alone.
Yeah.
Whatever, just don't wake me up.
Yeah.
Leave me asleep.
But
So So I have been reviewing some of the evidence that we got from the residential that we did in Fredericksburg. And it appears that there's a great deal of talking that's done over the spirit box. However, there was very little that we got from the EVP sessions and nothing at all from the flashlight session. Now, we weren't able to do as many EVP sessions as we had hoped we could, partly because there were a couple of dogs in the house that were clicking around with their toenails on the hardwood floors, and we tried to do one outside and the air compressor came on out back. But the spirit box sessions were very fruitful, and I've pulled up here a few of the spirit box responses that we got. These are in no way all of them. There was quite a few of them. So we can go in and start reviewing some of these and let you listen and see if you can figure out exactly what they're saying. So the first one that we have up at the very top with the blue lines right here, we're not exactly sure what this is saying. However, this was when one of our investigators had asked the question, can you try to tell us your name? And it almost sounds like there is a name coming through, but we're not sure exactly what it is. You know, our opinions are sort of mixed. So here we go.
14. 14. 14.
Now, as you can hear, it sounds like two words, Cordine or Core Deep. It's really hard to tell, but that's certainly one of the things that we wanted to pose so that perhaps somebody that's watching the video can put in their own 2 cents about it. Now, the next one is a little bit different, so we'll move on to that one. That's the second one down here. Now, this one is, I believe, a little bit easier to understand. Now, let me turn it down a little bit and play it again. Now, what this sounds like to me is either somebody saying fine treat or fine tree. However, Jeff had a different opinion. He thought it almost sounded like somebody saying Audrey, the name Audrey. So, again, that's one of those things that you might want to put in, you know, your 2 cents about. Let us know exactly what you think. Also in this time period, there was a response that came through that said, hey, Jeff. So that was kind of interesting. And there was another one that had come through that said, Mama's sick, which we thought was kind of strange as well. Not exactly the type of thing you'd expect to hear, but certainly worth noting. So moving along, we have another section of audio for you to hear. This one was about 27 minutes into the spirit box session, and one of the investigators had asked, are you attached to something in the home or around the home? And this was the response that we got. Now what you're hearing there is the male voice that's coming through. The female voice is actually Kyle, one of our investigators. And so I'll play that one more time, and then I'll tell you what I think it sounds like. Now to me this sounds like somebody saying something to the effect of, Brian keeps it. We're not exactly sure about the name of the resident, one of the residents that was in the home at the time, but who knows, he could be Brian. But if not, it's certainly interesting because it does sound like the name Brian that comes through. So then we have another one here, which is pretty interesting because this was very shortly after the one that you just heard. Now, it's a little bit hard to understand, but it is not so hard to understand that you can't, we weren't able to draw something out of it and make our own conclusion about it. So again, this was not long after we had asked about what the spirit may be attached to in the home. So I'll play this one for you and hope it's not too loud here. Now this one actually sounds like it's saying something like which button you have or French button you have, which is particularly interesting because there were a lot of old Civil War items inside the home, and some very old, very vintage sort of things laying around. So we're not real sure if one of the residents might have some sort of a button, either like the button that goes, to attach on your clothes, or one that's like a campaign button of some sort. But this is one of the questions that we're posing to the client when we send in the report to find out if they can think of anything that this might refer to. Now, another reason why this is interesting is because there is at least one other time through this same spirit box session where some voice that comes through the spirit box refers to a button. So we know there's something significant about a button in that one. Now, also around the same time period, this was about 35 minutes into the spirit box session, there was one that came through that all of the investigators were able to understand and hear at the time. And we asked, how long have you lived here? And the response sounded like it says little over 20. So we're assuming that means little over 20 years. Now that's one of those things that came through fairly clear. Like I said, all of the investigators had heard it at the time. So another, one that's worth mentioning. Then we have an incident as well where the investigators were asking, please tell us your name. And the response that we got was, tell us your name. And at the same time, we had the ERS Paratech app running, and the Paratech app says, you are. Now, at the time, we thought you are was a statement, like you are. But now in reviewing it, seeing as how it was only a few seconds after the voice that came through and said, tell us your name, it almost sounds like perhaps it was asking your name, like it was waiting for us to respond. So that was another pretty cool one. Now, this last one I'll play for you and then talk about it a little bit. So here we are. Now, this one was one that I thought was kind of cool because it was a time when we were talking about, being a little bit intimidated by what was inside the home. Not particularly the investigators, but the clients themselves. And the response that I hear sounds like it's coming from someone that has a little bit of an accent. And what it sounds like they're saying is, don't be scared. Like I said, the word scared sounds like it's said with an accent, but I'll play it one more time here and let you hear it. Don't be scared. Almost like somebody with a northern accent would say it. So some very interesting things from this investigation. There was also a couple times when a spirit would come through the spirit box and say something to the effect of, I need help, or they will help me, which was kind of interesting, seeing as how, we were getting so much response at this time. Now, at a later time, we came back and did another spirit box session in the home and got hardly anything in the same location, and this was only about an hour later. So very interesting that this first spirit box session gave us so many responses, and yet we turned around an hour later, came back and got absolutely nothing, which tells me that the responses that we were getting were not necessarily radio stations, because if they were, then the sounds and the radio stations breaking through would have been there in the second session in the same location as well. So again, some interesting things. Please let us know. We've let you listen to 5 different clips here. So please, if you want to comment and tell us what you think you're hearing on some of these clips, please refer to either the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth audio clip that we played for you, and let us know what you think.